Good afternoon. Hope you're having a great day on this snowy, rainy, dreary day in Massachusetts. So this Shabbos we're finishing the book of Exodus. We've done Genesis, now we're finishing Exodus. And there is a big difference between Genesis and Exodus. Genesis is very focused on the individual. You read about Adam, about Eve, about Noah, about Abraham, Sarah, Rebecca, Esau, Ishmael, all these individuals. In fact, in the book of Genesis, we're called Bnei Israel, the children of Israel. We're one family. Exodus, on the other hand, is where we get transformed into a nation. It's the first time we're called Am Yisrael, the people of Israel, the nation of Israel. Because suddenly it takes that transformation from a little family in the shtetl to building a nation. And this week we read two portions. We finish Vayakel and Pekudei. Pekudei, the last portion, means the individual. And it begins by Moses giving a detailed accounting to everything he did, everything that was donated to the temple and how it was spent. And the question is, why does Moses give such a detailed accounting? Did someone think that Moses was pocketing some money to invest in oil land in Saudi Arabia? The people trusted Moses, and even if Moses had to give an accounting, why is it relevant today? What's the message? And the Rebbe, in the last Farbringen, the last gathering he had in 1992 before the Rebbe stroke, the Rebbe spoke about the difference of Genesis and the difference of Exodus. In Exodus, we begin as a tormented, enslaved people by a tyrant Pharaoh. And then we have the Exodus. And from the Exodus, God takes us to Sinai to give us the Torah. And once God gives us the Torah, we fail miserably and we sin with the golden calf only 40 days later. When Moses goes up to plead afterwards with God to find a deeper strike, a deeper chord within his relationship with the Jewish people and to forgive. And at that moment, God instructs the people that he will forgive them, but they should build him an edifice, a structure, a tabernacle, where he will come dwell in their midst. And everyone contributes. It's the first home, as Lincoln said, built by the people, for the people. It's a home that's going to be for God. And in the portion of Pekudei, Moses is finally ready to bring the Shekhinah down, the divine presence, into this place. But before that, Moses teaches us something very important. It's the old age argument. What's more important, community or the individual? And by the last portion being called Pekudei, which speaks about the individual, and its connection this week to the portion before Vayakel, which speaks about community. What Moses was telling us, that yes, we need to build community. And yes, we need to focus on a greater good and purpose for everyone. But you can never forget the intrinsic, inherent value of every human being, the gift that they are a part of Hashem, that they have within them a soul of God, and that each unique individual has their purpose. And that's why the last portion, Moses goes through every detail, and it's called Pekudei, because after Vayakel, when you build a community, is when you only then, most importantly, have to recognize the power, the strength, the importance of the individual. Because as we know, and we see with tyrants, with socialists, anytime we forget about individual on the expense of community, we end up forgetting about the community too. Today also happens to be the yahrzeit of one of the greatest Chassidic masters, a student of the Maggid of Mizrich, who had the famous Chevraya Kadisha, the group of students. The Maggid was a student of the Baal Shem Tov, the founder of the Chassidic movement. And he had a student, the Maggid, who had a group of students that founded and paved the way of Chassidism. Of course, starting with the Alter Rebbe, who was the founder of the Chabad movement. And he had a colleague who was a dear friend, a holy man, and his name was Reb Elimelech of Lizensk. He was a great righteous tzaddik who lived in a little city of Lizensk on the border of Poland. And he passed away, I think it was in 1786, if I'm not mistaken, or maybe 1789. And there's a famous quote, a famous prayer that he made that he called the tefillah, the prayer before the prayers. Before we start our morning prayers, a prayer we should say. And it became probably the thing that he's known by most. It became a beautiful song. The most powerful words that really connect to knowing each individual and not forgetting that when we build community, every individual is important. And I'll read you the words in Hebrew and in English. He says, Adarabeh, please, he says, same b'libeinu, God, give in our hearts. Shenira kol echad mailas chavereinu v'lo yichasreinu. We should always see the good, the positives, the talents of our friends, and not that which they're lacking of. V'shenedaber kol echad es chaveru b'derech hayashar ve'oratzu b'fanecha. We should speak each one to our friends in a calm and nice and real demeanor. We should never have hatred from one to the other. And strengthen our bond with love to you, God, as it is known and revealed to you that everything should be in a calm and pleasant way that leads to nachas ruach for God, that he should be happy. You think about those words, the words of this great sage, passed away 236 years ago, that are sung every day, and people say in their prayer before they pray every morning, that we should see the positive. We should love. We should speak in a calm, friendly demeanor, not putting people down. Speak to people, not at people. That's the story of Exodus, where we become a nation, but we end with pikude, with the individual, and we say chazak, chazak, v'nit chazek, may God strengthen us to be united as one community, one nation, one people serving Hashem, focused on each individual. Have a great day.